gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more, ain't gonna study war no more, ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more, ain't gonna study war
Hey guys,
no more.
this is the first episode of our podcast, and on this podcast we're going to be talking about, as art students, we want to talk about maybe our favorite art movements, since we've been studying art for the last 3 years.
Kind of like art news, what's going on in the art world, or just some really fun stories, or really fun stuff that interests us.
Yeah, we're going to talk about history, we're going to talk about pop culture, we're going to talk about what we like about the art world, what we hate about the art world. We're going to give suggestions on portfolio making, careers, everything like that.
Kind of just what it's like being an art student
in an art college. So, I am Kin, and this is Tim. I know that's very catchy. And
it's very catchy.
And for this episode, would you like to introduce us to the first topic that we're going to talk about?
I would love to. So today we are going to talk about novelty architecture. And okay, if you live in America, you have seen novelty architecture. Novelty architecture is kind of like what you've been, if you go down any American highway, you will probably see this stuff.
Is it what I'm thinking about? Old European art that's been repurposed?
No.
Is it postmodernist?
No, this stuff, it's more popular, been around during the Great Depression, 20s, 30s. So, America, car culture, and around the time during the 20s, 30s, people wanted to go out. They wanted to go to new places, kind of go on car trips, and towns or areas, they wanted to attract people, so they would make huge signs or huge sculptures or really weird buildings. And it was popularized in the US during the 30s, so with the rise of cars and road trips, and it was just meant to attract people off the road. This would be often for restaurants and cafes or hotels or gift stores.
And landmarks too, right? Is that what the biggest ball of twine, is that considered novelty?
No, because you can't really go inside it. And it's not really a well, it is a sculpture, but it's kind of vague.
Yeah.
And sadly, these things have been in decline because people just don't travel or go on road trips as much anymore, because this was really popular in the 20s, 30s, 40s. Planes haven't really been as popularized or as made as commercial as they are now. And also with everything with the pandemic, people are encouraged not to travel as much, which hasn't helped them at all.
Yeah, no, that's definitely...
And they've been in decline since the 80s. One of the books I've got that I will be referencing a lot on this podcast is called The End of the Road by John Margolies, Vanishing Highway Architecture in America. It's really good. It's a really fun and simple read, and it kind of goes into the history of the rise, the fall, the different changes that they've been over the years. And for this podcast, I've compiled a lot of novelty architecture I thought was really cool or interesting. And Kim, she has not seen any of these, and I just want to get her opinion. We are going to rank which one is the best, which one's the most interesting, which ones should, because they're abominations. I will say a lot of these people with no background in architecture made a lot of these. So you just got old man John from down the street building a 20-foot triceratops, or a milk bottle building on his own.
Oh
and
my gosh. Or like those, what I'm talking about when I mentioned like those very special water towers are like in the shape of tea kettles and like
Or like a peach, or like a
Orangutan.
baby head.
Yeah, or just like a human freaking carcass. They do a lot of very creative things with water towers.
But there is a science to this. So there's 3 types of
Ooh.
novelty architecture. We got pragmatic, and these are buildings designed to look like something, and you can enter these buildings.
Cool.
There is sculpture, where it's just a sculpture, you can't enter it. And there's like styling building, which is made to look like a famous landmark.
Okay.
And again, a lot of these have been on the decline because just of like the decline of the highway or the road. And so the first ones I want to show to Kim are, these ones are fairly new. They are in Las Vegas. This is the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas, and this is the Excalibur Hotel in Vegas.
Ooh.
As you can see, these are examples of styling buildings. So the Luxor's looks like the Great Pyramids, and the Excalibur is supposed to look like medieval times.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like a Lego representation of a medieval building. It's just very
what
bright.
do you expect from Las Vegas? They're trying their best. They just want you to gamble. They just want you to spend your money.
They're like, look, it's bright, it's flashy. You guys get the idea. Guys, look, it's a Renaissance.
Which one's best? Which one's hotter? Which one do you like? Which one do you like more?
Kim.
Which one do you like more, Kim? Which one?
Honestly... Oh, hello. Notification from my computer.
Get out of here. Get
out
of here.
Get out of here. Honestly, I really like the... I really like the pyramid one a lot.
Okay, and just so you know, Las Vegas, they have a ton of these. They have a ton of like different styles, tons of different hotels to attract tourists, but I thought these 2 were pretty interesting. If I ever go to Las Vegas, maybe I'll go to it.
Is that a giant basket?
You're gonna spoil it. But okay, this one, it is a giant wicker basket. So this one is Longburger Company in Newark, Ohio, and this was like on Route 16.
Oh, it's in Ohio.
It's Ohio.
Of course it's in Ohio.
A swing state. So, okay, what do you think of this? Would you like to work in this building?
I would want to live in that building. It's just a giant basket. Like, imagine telling somebody, listen, like, I know that you've met the president, but I work in a giant basket in Ohio.
It's beautiful. Like, I would snatch this, but unfortunately, Kim, this doesn't exist anymore.
What happened?
It's gone. So, as of January of this year, 2021, the building was on market for like $6.5 million after a planned hotel project fell through due to, economic impact of COVID. And this was made in 1997. And fun fact, the basket handles each weigh 150 tons and can be heated, which is very nice.
Oh, I thought you meant like it could be set on fire at first. And I was like, oh,
so
good.
like it doesn't like build ice on it.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so the Longaberger Company, they make baskets. So this is what they do. So the guy Dave Longberger was like, let's make our headquarters a basket, which I respect, man. I respect that. That is awesome.
Dude, like, I think that every company should have their headquarters be the product that they create. Like, if your company makes,
So Amazon is like a giant shipping package.
That's what I was thinking about. The Amazon headquarters could literally just be a giant Amazon box, like... made out of real cardboard, I don't know what could go wrong with that,
Sounds fantastic.
If it's anything like their actual packages, it would probably just fall apart, because I've worked there.
Oh my gosh. What else would be a great building?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so like for Johnsonville in Wisconsin, it would just be a giant hot dog. They would just be living in a giant hot dog. They would just be living in a giant hot dog. You know?
Well, we have that. We have the Oscar Mayer Wiener dog.
Okay, but this would be
cart.
for Johnsonville, and they could make it
everybody,
their own.
everybody drives an Oscar Mayer Wiener car.
I would like that.
I want that.
Okay, but the Jelly Belly like headquarters could just be a giant jelly bean, and maybe it's like the grass clipping flavored one. Maybe it's like this disgusting green one, you know? Maybe if you look at it, it's actually flavored like one.
It's like Willy Wonka factory on crack.
but I'm the head of it, you know? I'm the head of the project.
I think I would fire you. I don't want my building to taste like grass clippings.
When it rains, everyone just gets coated in this nasty polish that's flavored like lawnmower clippings.
Oh, you're terrible. But anyway,
yes.
What's really sad is that Dave Longberger, he wanted this building and he died before it was completed.
That always makes me so sad because this man was probably talking to his wife and kids about this and just never got to see it.
And I guess it was going to be a hotel because, like, the
yeah,
headquarters,
baskets.
like, fell through in, like, I think it was, like, 2016.
Yeah.
But, hell, if this is a hotel, like, I would stay there. And I guess we'll see what happens to it because as of now, it's for sale. If you want to invest, I would strongly suggest that you get this giant wicker-shaped basket.
Yeah, because literally, who wouldn't want to bring all 7 of their children to a giant basket? Like, and it has, like, 7 floors, and each weave in the basket is, like, a different floor. Like, that's ingenious.
And it's heated. The handles are heated.
Yeah, so you could go slide down it, and you get, you know, it's like a little seat warmer, you know?
Okay, but out of 10, how would you rate this?
Okay, I would rate that a perfect 10. That's my favorite one so far.
Okay. Well, this is the first one you've seen. Okay,
well,
no, this one is very, very beautiful. She is very thick.
It feels like a butt.
It is, because it's a peach.
Yeah, it looks like a giant yellow crack.
This is a well-known landmark. This is the Peachoid. It is one of the most recognizable landmarks along I-85. This is in Georgia. Of course, because it's Peachland.
Peachland.
So this was built in 1981. So like, you know, it's holding out pretty well. Would you be interested? Would you invest? Would you invest in this? How would you rate this out of 10?
Well, okay, so there's a little bit of red in the middle of the peach, which represents, according to art theory, appetite.
Uh-huh.
You have yellow and red. When I look at that, I feel hungry but also disgusted because it looks like a butt cheek. You know, it's not as good as a basket, but I would give it a 7.
You know, I would rate this higher. Because, like, the base of it, it's just, like, this ugly brown.
Yeah.
I think it would look cool, like, if it was, like, green. Because it looks like, you know, fresh from the branch, fresh from the vine. It would look cool, but it's just kind of, like, an ugly brown with the city's name on it, you know?
It's an afterthought. That's what we call it in a class. We call things like that an afterthought during critique.
So this is okay. Not as good as the wicker basket, but, you know, they A for effort.
Oh, the Paul Bunyan one is magnificent.
No, this is like a different, you know, this is our first like sculpture architecture. This is in Bemidji, Minnesota. I've actually seen this. I have driven through Bemidji, and let me tell you, Minnesota, they love Paul Bunyan. This is not the only Paul Bunyan sculpture. There is many of this beautiful man and his beautiful blue locks.
I've seen this in Michigan. I saw a replica of it in Michigan, and it was scary, and it scared me.
Does this one scare you too?
He looks like a Minecraft character.
I think it looks like Roblox.
It kind of does look like Roblox. Roblox. We should have that be our outro song. One of our friends made a song, and if this video like gets bigger and if anyone wants to hear it, I'll put a link of it somewhere, but like it's literally just him. He made a Roblox album on Spotify. But yeah, dude, it looks like a Roblox character, man. Like,
I will say the ox looks better.
Yeah.
The ox looks like an ox.
This is like what an alien would construct a human body if it had never seen one.
Okay, how do you rate him out of 10?
Okay, maybe, I don't want to be mean. The creator probably was really proud of this when they were done.
I don't really think anybody
Yeah.
I don't know much history about this one.
It's from 1937. That's like after the Great Depression, leading up to World War II. They probably had
Yeah.
other things to worry about other than proportionate heads, you know?
They had bigger problems to worry about. I would, I think I'd say like a solid 7.
Yeah, I was gonna say a
Yeah.
6. A 6 or 7 would be good. It gets my thumb of approval.
Okay. Now this is a very interesting one. This is the Benoit milk bottle. It is a landmark in Spokane, Washington. This was also made in the 30s as well.
Wow.
1935. And okay, it was set on fire in
What was
20.
that?
Well, I think it was just like an internal thing because
Okay.
like it is you go inside it.
Yeah.
From what I understand, like it is like a store right now.
Like a milk shop? A milk bottle shop?
Like I think it was like convenience food, like you know.
Like a
I
gas
don't
station. Sorry.
I don't know too much about it, but it's cute. It's a milk bottle. How would you rate this?
It's kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I saw this and I automatically thought bottle, you know? Like, it's cool. It's cute. That's like a little mini convenience store, but it's not. It's okay. You know, I would see it and I would kind of like breathe out of my nose a little bit and go, you know, like, that's pretty cool. And then I'd laugh a little bit to myself and then I'd keep driving on the highway.
Well, this is not exactly on the highway. I believe it's in the town,
Oh, okay.
but it's pretty cute. I'll be honest, it looks a little scary. Like this is
Yeah.
like it makes me think of liminal spaces.
Oh,
Even though it's not a liminal space, it just gives me liminal space energy.
yeah, I could see that.
So I'd rate this. It's like good in like different ways. Like liminal space energy, this is 9 out of 10. But just aesthetic, as it is currently right now, I'd say maybe like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, not my. It's probably my least favorite one.
Okay.
Ooh, that one's beautiful though.
This one has a lot of history to it. Now, this
Ooh.
is the Teapot Dome Service Station, and this is a former gas station in the shape of a teapot. But since it is like kind of become a landmark, they've done like their best to restore it, and it's kind of like a touristy spot now. You can go inside and like learn the history of a little bit. And this is located in Zillow, Washington.
Wow.
And the reason why it is made into the shape of a teapot is because the creator, he wanted to like remind people about the teapot scandal, which was like the greatest like U.S. government scandal before Watergate.
Really?
Yeah, so the reason why it's called teapot was because I believe this took place in Colorado or like Wyoming, somewhere in that area, and there's like this landmark, these like kind of like buttes that are like in the form of shape of like a teapot handle.
Oh yeah.
And so I mean, what else is the US known for? Taking oil and coal.
Oh.
And there was like, I need to refresh my memory about it, but it was stuff where like US like subsidizing like this one company or like giving them like tax breaks when they shouldn't have because they just
Oh.
want like they just want that money, they want that oil. And it was like at the time like the greatest and most sensational scandal in the history of American politics, in quotes.
Until Nixon came along, and then we got the. I can't do the Nixon voice from Futurama, but the. I can't do it, but.
You tried. But I think it's really, really cool. Like, most of, like, these novelty architecture, you want to, like, attract people or, like, do it in the shape of, like, the product you sell, but it can be used to make, like, an actual, like, political statement. Like, they can be used to, like, bring attention to, like, a certain topic or, like, learn about something. Like, I had no idea about this of U.S. history until, like, I saw the picture of the teapot and like looked it up and like, whoa, this is something like, why didn't they tell us about it?
I know. There's a lot of stuff that's like that. Like, you don't know that you're digging into a rabbit hole until you Google it, and you're just like, wow.
I would encourage you guys to look into it, and like, just if you're gonna look into more novelty architecture on your own, totally, there's hundreds of like these different sculptures and buildings. We're not gonna go through every single one, but a lot of these have like a really cool story or really interesting history. And I would gladly encourage you guys to, just look into it. Now, this is my favorite. This is like so fun.
Oh my god.
But this is like Dinosaur Park in Rapid City, South Dakota. Now, this was built in like 1936 to attract people. And this is just the little T-Rex, but there is more. There's more of like these little dudes running around. It contains 7 dinosaur sculptures, and they're, overlooking a hill. And it was like, meant to capitalize on tourists coming to the Black Hills and to see Mount Rushmore.
It's ironic that you mentioned that. Not ironic, that's a wrong use of the word. It's funny that you mentioned that because, like, when I went to South Dakota as a kid, I remember seeing those dinosaurs.
No.
I remember going to see them because we went to the Black Hills. We went to Mount Rushmore. I think I remember us driving past those.
Do you think... Oh, we forgot to rate. How do you rate Teapot?
Oh, Teapot, a solid 10.
A solid 10. It's beautiful. It's got a great message. Okay, now back to dinosaurs.
I would rate the dinosaur like an 8, 9. He looks kind of goofy looking. He's got like a snatched waist for some reason.
Hey, this was made in the 30s. Don't judge them. They're doing their best.
They knew what a dinosaur looked like. I'm joking. It's very good. It's a good sculpture.
It's very cute.
Yeah.
Very wholesome.
Very cute.
What did you think about him when you saw him when you were little?
See, the thing is, I didn't even remember seeing it until we looked at this picture. It literally just went over my head. I had other things to worry about. I think I was playing Pokemon, like Gold in the car or something.
How could you ignore this adorable lad?
I had other things to worry about, okay? I was probably leveling up my Pidgey.
Okay, this is another interesting one. This is a building. This is Gas and Go UFO. It was a gas station.
Whoa.
This was made in 1966 and is currently not here anymore. It got destroyed because of like neglect.
Really?
Yeah, just people, a lot of novelty architecture has gone and died. Later on I will go through the End of the Road, the book, but they do talk about a lot. This guy, John Margolies, he went out and photographed a lot of like these novelty architecture buildings because a lot of them, and keep in mind this book was made in the 80s. This is decades old. Yeah. But even then, a lot of these were just being destroyed or were abandoned, and he wanted to photograph them before they were gone. And this is one of the things in his books he photographed before it was gone.
Cool. And
apparently it's been replaced by a Walgreens. You can go to Walgreens.
What,
now.
Couldn't they just repurpose the UFO for
man.
Walgreens?
Well, ask the people in Ohio. Ashtabula, Ohio.
I have so many issues with Ohio already, and this is just another one on the list. That's right, guys. If any of you guys are from Ohio, just know that I automatically hate you.
I'm sorry, but Kim wants to start a war with Ohio right now.
We should just cut them off from the U.S. and let them start their own country.
Oh, how do you rate UFO? He's gone now.
Oh.
But if you saw him in his full glory, what would you say?
By the way, I'm kidding about Ohio. I actually really love Ohio. And if I had to rate the UFO,
it also flashed lights at night.
That makes me so sad. Honestly, dude, like, I don't know. I would probably rate it, like, honestly, like, just because it's gone and just because it flashed lights and it's magnificent, I would probably rate it, like, an 8. Because there's so much love put into this thing just for it to die. I hate seeing that.
Me too. Because, like, somebody made this. Somebody's kid was probably really proud of this. So many kids were probably like, hell yeah, let's go to the UFO gas station.
Yeah. And now it's just dead.
Hey, we got a Walgreens now. It's okay.
Great.
But this one is still alive and well. This
Good.
is Bob's Java Jive. It is in the shape of a teapot, a tea kettle. But
Dude.
unlike the other one, this is no political statement because they just literally, it's a coffee shop. They make coffee here, made by Bob.
Wait, why is it a coffee shop if it's literally just a tea kettle?
Or maybe it's a coffee kettle. I don't know.
Okay, no, I think they literally do sell coffee, but it's giant tea kettles. That's just kind of confusing.
Or, it's a liquid. You drink it in the morning. It's okay.
You heat it
It's
up
like
in your
that.
kettle.
Just be like that. Now, this is in Tacoma, Washington, and it is active. You should go. And it was designed by Bert Smicer, and it was constructed as a teapot restaurant in 1927. But the Java Jive wasn't established until the 50s, and apparently they host karaoke there. And, regular features, live music and DJs. And it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. So I think it was like maybe like it didn't intend to be like a coffee store. It was just like repurposed to be that way.
Oh, gotcha.
I think that's just the case in a lot of like these buildings. Like they originally started as something, but just evolved to something else over time.
It got like repurposed. I honestly really like this one. I will say the blue, like red and blue and white together are a little, like, I don't want to say carnival-y.
Excuse me, those are American colors.
I know they are, but divorced from the American flag. It looks a little bit like, I don't know why, but those colors just come off as like extra novelty, like a little garish.
I think you're being a little communist.
Fine.
I think
if it's not red with a giant yellow star on it, Tim, I don't want it.
Okay. Now this one also has been like repurposed. This is a TP motel, so there's lots of different little architectures at once. So like each room is a little teepee, and it's pretty cool. And this is in Wharton, Texas. It is active. This was made in 1942, and apparently like it had gone like out of business in like the early 2000s, but it was like revived like a few years later. And I've heard like if you go there, each little teepee, it's got cable, TV, fridge, it's also an RV park, so very nice.
Wait, we gotta rate it.
Personally, these don't really look like teepees to me. They just look like cones with very earthy colors. I don't know. It's a little weird. I like the spirit of it, and I like that it's been revived, but it just does not say teepee to me. So I would say like a 6 out of 10. Maybe a 7 out of 10, because like there's more stuff you can do, and it seems like it's pretty cool on the inside.
It just, honestly, to me, at the top of it, when you mentioned that it doesn't look like a teepee, I automatically thought that it looked like one of those missiles they have in old propaganda movies or shows from like the World War II era.
Well, this was in 42.
Maybe that's where they got their inspiration from. They're like, I've never seen a Native American teepee before. I'm just gonna make it up.
Let's commercialize this.
Yeah, let's commercialize, this cultural thing. No, but it's a cool concept. I can't believe it was inactive and revamped in 2006, forgive me. That's pretty crazy.
Okay, and apparently this next one, this is one of the most well-known or historical ones.
That's so scary.
It's a little creepy, but she's beautiful. Don't body shame her. Oh. She's beautiful. This is Lucy the elephant. She is a 6-story elephant in the shape of a beautiful elephant. She was made in 1881 by James V. Lafayette in Margate City, New Jersey. She's very beautiful. She looks like a little circus elephant.
Dude, she looks like one of those like, oh, what's his name? Do you know who I'm talking about? He's one that does those animations. Like, there's like a dragon. We've watched him before. He's like one of the most famous YouTube animators. Like, he does like all of his stuff is like nonsensical and it's random, and there's like a dragon with like orange and yellow, and You know what? I'm gonna think about this and I'll edit it in, like, to show it on screen what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
But it looks like one of his animation pieces, with the eye shape especially. It just looks kind of freaky, man. The fact that it looks this good, almost like
Over
140
years.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably been a lot of, like, renovations to it, but again, like, I respect. And
Yeah.
this was, made to, like, promote real estate and, like, attract tourists. But again, this is a great piece of, like, history. She looks pretty good. It looks like out of all of, like, the other, like, sculptures we've seen, I think they've actually put, like, a lot of, like, not necessarily
care?
like time and care, but like have like a professional, I think. But it's pretty good. Looks like you can go in her. You can go on the little thing on the top. It's very cute.
You're right. They put a lot of love into this thing. Like all the other ones, like even that are 40 years old, look pretty run down, in comparison.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine like what it takes to like upkeep some of these, because again, they are just so big, and a lot of these towns, they've just been like suffering like in decline for the past few decades. So
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's what makes it a good tourist town though, because it brings a lot of business into it. It's probably why they made these to begin with, to keep. Honestly, you mentioned these came about after the Great Depression.
this was before the Great Depression.
Before?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
1880s.
No, I mean like the movement of commercializing. It came about during the Great Depression or after it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
because you want to attract people off the road.
Yeah, they did that. They did that. A bunch of designers after the Great Depression or during the Great Depression did that with like teapots. They did renovations, not renovations. They did revamping of like trains and everything, and they made them beautiful. And they made refrigerators beautiful. And they did all kinds of designs just to get people who didn't want to spend any money during the Great Depression or after the Great Depression to spend more money and to recirculate it back into the economy. That is honestly ingenious. Like the fact that they made all of these tourist spots just to revamp the economy, that's pretty genius.
I think they did a good job. Now this one,
Oh yes.
it's a little more upgraded than the one you saw in South Dakota.
Oh my
This
gosh.
is the Cabazon dinosaurs.
He sure is.
This is found in Cabazon, California. And, these are two very big steel and concrete dinosaurs. We got the, like, little T-Rex here. Very beautiful. And apparently the Brontosaurus is 65 feet tall and very, very visible. Like, I don't think you can miss this guy. I don't think you can drive down the road and not see this beautiful man looking at you.
He's like smiling. He looks so smug.
And these are more well known because this was like filmed in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh. So there's a movie that brought attention to it too.
Did you ever watch Pee-wee?
No, I've never seen
No.
Pee-wee. I apologize.
Oh, I think you're missing out. And you can go inside the Brontosaurus. He's got a little store inside.
That's cool.
It's pretty good.
They sell like little figurines of him and only that. Because that would be
Probably.
awesome.
Wait, okay, so if they have dinosaurs inside this dinosaur, is that like its children?
It's his
Is
his eggs. They're hatching.
So every time you walk out, you're taking taking our children away.
He's just always a factory producing more and more babies. I'm sorry if that joke is. Anyway, yeah, this guy's pretty
Okay,
cute.
I give it a 9 out of 10. This is huge. This is beautiful. They look very majestic.
Dude, if I saw this as a kid, I would put my hands like. I would just like slap his legs or something. I was a very weird child. If I saw this, I'd probably like be so mesmerized with like the texture that they added on his legs, and I'd be like,
So these are like, that's the ones like I had saved for you more. And it looks like out of the ones that I have showed, the basket is like, and the teapot is the best rated ones, just for like appearance.
They look good. They look slick, you know?
I would say I do have like a special place in my heart for the UFO and for the elephant, just because like one is the UFO is gone, and just for like the history, like with the elephant, little Lucy.
Oh yeah.
And so for like the next part, I just wanted to like, read a bit about End of the Road by John Margolies, and if you can, I would highly recommend you guys get this book. I got this for like $10 on Amazon, and I mean it kind of shows. I think this is very used. It's very used.
We call it well loved. You're right. Like I don't know, you guys can't see this, but the corners of the pages are like grayed.
It smells a little bit too.
You could smell this.
Smell it.
I don't want to smell your book. It smells like skin flakes and sweat. Like someone was really sweaty when they were digging into this material. Also, look at the font choice for this.
It's
very dark.
Very bold. And so the book itself, there's more to it than just the sculptures, more than just like buildings. They also talk about gas stations, because this was like, the rise of the car, the rise of gas. And a lot of these companies wanted to take you off the road. Notice these. Because this is like some old classic stuff. Like you got, I don't get why Mobile doesn't do like the huge like little Pegasus it used to have.
Yeah. No, it's iconic. It's a very iconic image.
Mm-hmm. They also kind of show like the history of like the gas pump. Because, yeah, the ones made in the 20s look nothing like what we have today. They've gotten more computerized. They've gotten a lot more sleek. But it's kind of like lost some of like the charm, I think. The older ones have. They're scarier looking. Yeah. But it's just not, doesn't have like the character, like,
The Fallout aesthetic is lacking in the modern day pumps.
And again, like a lot of gas stations tried to like, there's UFO right there. Gas stations wanted to be inventive, and a lot of these were like local little gas stations. Like we got one here, it's in the shape of
a plane.
We got a little hat. We got one in like different sort of like styles too. This one I think is supposed to be more like a Hispanic style. This one's much more like brick and mortar, and you just don't see these anymore, or if you do, they're just very small town off the side of the road, probably abandoned.
I can say a lot about modern architecture. That might be for another episode, because I have a lot to say about certain postmodernist ideas. There's a lot to say about that, because some of them are really good and very beautiful. A lot of them aren't, but obviously
that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
But anyway, here's like signs for like cafes or restaurants.
I like the car one. I love old antique cars are awesome, but old drawings of antique cars, for some reason, I just have always loved those.
It just shows like a different era or a different time, because a lot of these are local businesses. These are just like little mom and pop restaurants just trying to like, get some people off the road.
It kind of reminds me of like, how, the reason why I think Rockwell was so popular during the 1940s and 50s is because he was a cultural staple, and it kind of shows you like what the culture was at the time too. They really valued small businesses and small diners. It's like you would go there with your friends.
Just showing like everyday life.
Yeah, like the average American. It wasn't like what you see in the movies. Most of them were from small town environments, and they were it was a lot more simple. I think it was a very simple time. Everyone that I've spoken to who came from that era describes it as being a lot more simple, and I think there's a reason for that. It's just nostalgia.
Or do we just romanticize it a bit? Because I've seen criticisms of Norman Rockwell where it's like he's romanticizing it too much or like oversimplifying it. And I think that's maybe true in some cases, but
I think that's true too. I think that's true to some extent.
It's still like really sweet drawing. So I have a book of his, and it's just really nice to like look through.
Oh, I just meant culturally, not even Norman Rockwell.
Oh,
honestly,
no, totally.
Yeah, Norman Rockwell, the dude, like.
Who knows, maybe like 50, 60 years from now, maybe our era will be romanticized a little bit.
Oh, dude, everyone's gonna be like, do you guys listen to Billie Eilish? Dude, she's so vintage.
But we already do. We already kind of romanticize like the 2000s because, Neopets and Club Penguin.
It's always
because... doing cool math games and like, just some of like, pop punk bands and
goth girls from the 2000s.
I'm glad we buried them. But there's already like nostalgia for like 2000s video games or music. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe, or 60 years from now, people will be like, "Oh, terrible era. We're gonna skip this in history class, kids. There's nothing good from here."
But if you think about it, every decade in the last 100 years has been romanticized in some way, so I feel like that's human nature to some extent. It's just to long for something that you can never have, basically.
Don't make me depressed.
It's true.
Back to architecture. We got some little stores here. We got Igloo.
Oh, that's terrifying. I don't like that art style. I am not nostalgic for that art style.
Well, I think it's probably gone now.
Yeah.
But we got a little teapot here.
A little teapot. Sure.
We got orange for a juicy stand.
It kind of reminds me of Sweet 16. Is that what the show is called? Yeah.
No, it was like 16, but it was like spelt funny.
Yeah, they did something special with the name. But the one girl worked at the orange stand or the lemon stand.
I think whoever owns like these orange stands now should copyright sue them.
Yeah, they're like, you stole my 100-year-old idea.
But some more like fun like little stores like someone did in the style of like an Asian restaurant, or we got Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Dude, George Joe. Oh, it's a Cantonesian restaurant. That's just the most American name on top of this like barn. Yeah.
Or some of these are probably best not to have anymore.
Oh my gosh, what year is that from?
I don't know, because in this book they just have the name of, the building, where it's from, and that's it. There's this one I are talking about. It's called Mammy's Cupboard, and the store is her dress, and I don't think that's around anymore, and if it is, it's probably not good.
It's a caricature of an African-American woman with, like, the big eyes, the big lips. She has, like, it's just not good.
We got lots of Coke. Lots of restaurants advertising for Coke.
Oh, yeah, Coke is a monopoly.
We got... something else they pointed out in the book, a lot of diners at the time, they used train cars.
Yeah.
Like old train cars, like for their restaurant. And actually, from my hometown, we do have like a 50s themed diner, and it looks like this. I doubt it's from a train car, but I think they captured the style pretty well.
I think they just like the idea of eating inside of an old, like, locomotive train.
Mm-hmm. We're checking on my hamster.
Oh.
She's settling down. She's a very mischievous girl. Maybe you'll hear her sometime on the podcast.
She's very loud. We had to put her in timeout so she wouldn't make too many noises.
I don't know what these are, but it's very interesting.
It's very abstract.
And these are like movie theaters. We don't have a lot of like drive-in movie theaters anymore. These are very big at like, 30s, 40s, 50s. And I think it would be great to revive them again, especially since, we're going through the pandemic, social distance. I think these could, like, totally see, like, a revival. And I think they should.
It's because watching a movie is a very social thing. Even if you guys aren't talking, there's something that people around that time really saw everything as, like, a social event.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Holy cow.
Drive-in theater. And we got the dinosaurs.
Wow, that white one's looking kind of rough.
Oh, it's Nessie. It looks like Nessie.
Oh, wow, that's a small head.
Don't potty shame her. She's beautiful. She's very beautiful.
She's a beautiful girl.
She's a beautiful girl. She's got curves. She's got the ideal body type. And we got, like, Western themed, like old style, Old West.
I can get down with that.
Ooh, we got mini Mount Rushmore here. Very nice. Rapid City, South Dakota.
Huh.
I mean, before you see the big Mount Rushmore, you have to see the little Mount Rushmore.
They should place it right outside of Mount Rushmore. They actually had something like that at Mount Rushmore, and it confused me so much. I'm like, why is this here?
It's to prepare you for, like, the real one,
Yeah, so you don't cry when you see Mount Rushmore. You get that out of the way before you enter.
We got, like, another one, shape of a boat.
Whoa. Welcome to the Indian City.
This is in Arizona.
Huh.
And got some more big signs. Lots of courts.
Very good. Oh, I do like these. I like the colors on
like
them.
Cool motels.
Yeah.
Got, like, different styles. And, gotta promote the hotels. Got little candy canes, got trees, you got a hammer. Interesting. And, of course, very 50s looking shapes.
Yes, very 50s.
And you can get them in many styles. Got a log cabin.
Oh, look at the other.
We got the teepees.
These actually look like teepees on the right. The ones on the left, they look like bomb shelters made out of bombs. Like, they just look very, very unnerving. Bombie.
But yeah, I think it's really, really a shame, but maybe we can see a revival of these. So let me find what I wanted to read from John Margolies. Kind of like a bit of like the history and like kind of like what happened like during the decades. So in the 1910 through 1920, the first period in the history of roadside development goes from the beginning of the automobile to the beginning of the 1920s, with the automobile appearing the first architecture and facilities for this new life along the American road. Of these we know almost nothing except from old photographs, for the lifespan of buildings along the road was never great. From 1920 through 1955, around 1920, the Golden Age began. That first major change in scale of the roadside environment occurred when every man could have a car and get on the road. It lasted until World War II introduced gasoline rationing. During that time, more and more people started moving west, some stopping along the way and opening up diners and gas stations, these mom-and-pop businesses of the 30s and 40s that we are so nostalgic about today. They were strung out along the road at destinations determined by how long it took to drive from breakfast time till you wanted lunch, and how long it took to drive in a day till you wanted to sleep. Then, too, national gas companies began to spread their design programs across the country, first regionally, then nationally. It was a slower time, not too long ago, when life moved about 35 miles per hour. In 1955 through 1973, in the mid-50s, 3 new developments began to change the scale and appearance of the roadside environment dramatically. The advent of television, the corporate chains of their motel, gas station, and restaurant franchises, and the internet and the interstate highway system, which fostered a phase of corporate expansion that would forever alter the road as we experienced it. The improvement of highway design, along with the growth of leisure time and the carefully promoted concept of vacations, elevated automobile travel to new heights. People flocked by the carload to discover that what was the ends of American roads. Whereas in 1945, where there were 31 million motor vehicles traveling some 250 billion vehicle miles, by 1960, more than twice that many cars were traveling along some 718 billion miles.
Wow.
Television and mass communications began to meld the country into an even smaller and more accessible area by creating and reinforcing nationwide images of comfort, convenience, and reliability.
Wow.
Huge, ambiguous national concerns began to appear. Holiday Inns in 1953, McDonald's in 1955, and other conglomerates. Corporations learned if they wanted to draw people off the road, they had to promote a strong, single image. If they were going to have one motel that was shaped like a teepee, then the next one shouldn't be shaped like the Alamo or a goldfish. Soon, a whole new set of faster roads, the interstate highways, tightened the massive campaign to standardize America. The interstates, ostensibly designed to expedite and the excavation of our cities in case of emergency, were built at a time of landscape beautification, carrying with them the restriction that nothing could be built within 600 feet of the highway. The interstates began new changes. First, they bypassed the towns in the previous commercial strips, depriving them of patrons who, at the new 60 and 70 mile per hour speeds, were loath to get off their fast roads for any appreciable distance. Dick's Motor Inn in Banning, California, would have been an effective draw with its shocking pink walls, except that, bypassed by the new highway, it was completely out of sight. Second, the new 600-foot restriction influenced the style and positioning of architecture that would be built near the interstate interchanges, that would be built near the highway interchanges. Because signs were all you could see from the new roads, they became 100-foot-high announcements to be seen at greater distances and speeds. Buildings became nearly identical. It no longer mattered how they appeared. Their essence was conveyed by other means, and the message, reiterated along the highways, with conformity and familiarity. McDonald's raised its golden parabolas, and it was I can't read. And it was clear that corporate enterprise had congealed the roadside experience into a homogenized nationwide uniformity. I'm kind of running out of speed, but I'm almost done.
Okay.
Homespun graphic symbols were eliminated. They were abstracted. The flying red horse came down off Mobile sign.
Oh, yeah.
Bolder and simpler designs replaced the richness of regional variety in the decline by franchise decade. 1973 through 1980. But it was in the 70s began the series of gasoline shortages, recessions, and depressions that predicted the end of it all. The end of gasoline, of automobile travel, and ultimately, it seemed, the end of roadside architecture. The announcement of the death may be, as Mark Twain said, somewhat exaggerated, but it was caught up as short to what we had experienced, and what we might soon be missing. Now in the 80s, much of the roadside environment has already been destroyed, and all of it is threatened. This picture surveys of gas stations, motels, food shops, and roadside attractions commemorates an America that is fast disappearing. And
yeah, that's strangely philosophical. That's very weirdly philosophical.
And again, that's just how things evolved, and we travel quite a bit, and dude, there's always huge signs for McDonald's or Burger King or stop here for Mobile or Shell, or like we got Holiday Inn or Comfort Inn.
Yeah.
And it's, it just be like that. And it's really such a shame that a lot of these like local mom and pop or like simpler businesses just can't compete, because again, like with the restrictions, like you can't have like buildings or signs within a 600-foot like distance of the highway.
Yeah.
And like the interstate highway, now the whole reason I found out about novelty architecture was because I was researching Route 66. And Route 66 is one of the most iconic highways in America. It went from Chicago, Illinois to LA, California. And along that road, that's where like a ton of novelty architecture was. But Route 66 does not exist anymore. It was replaced with like the interstate highways. And it technically still does exist, but it's a lot of portions of it are broken up, and it's just made into a lot like smaller roads. Like if you are traveling from Chicago to California, you're probably not going to be on Route 66. And so with the, new interstate highways, a lot of like the old buildings that were built on the old ones are just gone. Who knows? I like to remain a little hopeful, though. It's really good. I'm really glad that we do have someone like John Margolies who like documented this and made a book about it. And I'm sure there's plenty of other people who have done photography about this too. And there's a lot of people out there that value these landmarks and have restored them or have like made them new in a way to, keep people attracted and like kind of keep the history of their town alive.
It's culture. It's American culture. And I think we're kind of forgetting. People say that Americans don't really have culture. I think we do.
We do in ways, and it's just really easy to overlook, or we take it for granted.
Yeah.
Because, where we're from, we see, like, there's a bunch of, like, weird or, like, kooky, like, little buildings or, like, signs, and you just drive by it every day, and you don't really think about them.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping that maybe in the future, like, we'll want to, because people love this. We want to have, like, new and, like, fun things, new, like,
and unexpected
little
things.
amusements. So, who knows? I think it's totally possible maybe we could see a revival of this. Maybe not necessarily, like, on the highways, but maybe, like, in small or like, more local ways,
Yeah.
But I just really wanted to share, novelty architecture with you guys. I think it's really fun. It's been really fascinating to read about. And again, I highly recommend The End of the Road. Again, it's like pretty cheap to get on Amazon. And it's really, really fun to look to. Really fun to like look through with like some friends, learn a little bit about history, and you never know what you may find.
Especially when it comes to landmarks. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, Kim, like you've never. Well, now that you know about this, like, what do you think?
I guess my closing thoughts are, I think one of the reasons why it was so popular during the 1950s is because I think I saw this one thing. I follow this like history guy on Instagram, and he shared like one time this store owner, he had like over 1,000 coats to sell. He hung every single coat up on top of his shop.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
But do you know why every coat sold? It was because nobody was expecting that. And things that are bizarre to us that people may think are weird, people are oddly attracted to because they love unexpected things. They love strange things. Even if they may say, that's foolish, it still takes up space in their mind. They still want to explore it and know more about it. So I think the best marketing scheme that I'm surprised more companies haven't done, instead of following the same formula of cliches, especially with movies, do something that's so outlandish and bizarre that only like a psychopath would think of, because that
AKA you.
Yeah, seriously. I can help anyone with their business, because that literally gives you so much business. People they love that. Like, if you make an entire movie on Post-it notes, I'm sure a lot of people would go to see that because they're like, oh, that's weird. Why would somebody do that? And then they watch it and they're just like, oh, But that's what people think of when they see these wild landmarks that they did not expect. They're like, that's foolish, or that's tacky looking. But then,
But they're really engaging. And hey, if you have one of these beautiful works of art in your area, see what you can do to, donate or just visit them, take some pictures, and tell other people about it. They could really use your help.
Yes.
All right, well, I think that's it for our first episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more. We have plenty of more ideas, and I think they are insane, but probably not.
Insane in the membrane. Hi guys, it's Kim. Bye. I just wanted to say I just want to share the fact that I'm using a sock as a pop filter. I hope you guys can appreciate how much effort we're putting into making this.
It's beautiful. It looks like if James P. Sullivan was squished into a ball.
Oh my god. Yeah, it looks a little funky. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. We're going to be probably releasing episodes, as frequently as we're able to, but we have a lot of interesting subjects to add on to this. So, thank you. Thank you for your time.
I love you. I love you too.